Okay, so I now hit the record. So again,
Okay.
effective use of HyperDocs in a virtual learning environment for K through 12. How teachers can use HyperDocs to engage students in virtual learning. That's me again, Natasha Smith, GSTA Director of District 4, Fulton County Schools Math Coach, STEM Coordinator. We talked about our session goals, explain the use of HyperDocs, and review some resources and exemplars. Again, HyperDocs are documents that have hyperlinks that allow students to move through learning cycles. So purposefully using links and engaging in those different links. Okay, so we're going to start off with looking at some sample HyperDocs. I think that's the best way to understand how awesome that they can be for you and your students within your school or your district. All right, so let's look at one HyperDoc. Now you'll notice this HyperDoc is set up with explore, explain, apply. So the student is looking at tornadoes, twisters, and funnels, but they're not just maybe looking at a particular website. They're getting to actually engage in it. So to get started with this particular learning cycle, they're going to explore first. So the student will be able to click and they're going to look at a map, look at where tornadoes are happening. I won't click on it, but as you can see, it takes them to and give them an opportunity to explore. Then they'll go to the second portion of their learning cycle using HyperDocs, and they get to explain. And so for the explain, you'll notice something really awesome. They used a form. So they come to this form and it takes them deeper, where the form has a video embedded. Then after they watch the video, they have to jot 3 new facts. This can be really amazing in a classroom because once they finish the form, they submit it, and then you start to have evidence of learning. You are giving them the opportunity to practice or understand the standard or skill, and you're also getting assignments from the students. So you see that they have to write facts about the video that they watch. It moves on and it tells them to study an image and then write down one question that they have about the image. So as you can see, the student stays completely engaged in this particular HyperDoc. So now that they've explored, they've had the opportunity to explain, now it's time for them to apply. So when you click apply, you'll see that they have a tornado assignment. So they get to work with a partner using ThingLink. So you'll see that there's also opportunity for collaboration in this particular one, where they're looking at an image and they're having to write down facts. So you can see that it ends with a task that they have to complete, a performance-based task, not just, let's take a test now. So I think that's really one of the awesome things with HyperDocs. All right, let's look at another way a HyperDoc could be set up. So we looked at one set up with explore, explain, apply. Let's look at one that's set up a little different. So this HyperDoc is set up with the focus on reading, where they even have like a closed text, or the teachers picked a particular level text that the students have to read, then reread. Then they end up clicking and engaging in an activity. So you see this one is set up to be integrated in reading and ELA, which I think is amazing. And what we always try to do is make sure that we at all times integrate our standards, especially like our reading in the science and social studies, math in the science and social studies. You'll notice underneath these 2 samples, there's a suggested phenomena that can go with these HyperDocs that are already available to you by simply copying your own copy of it within Google and making it work for your class. These go to our GSTA phenomena banks, but I actually aligned it with this particular activity. I'll show you one. So for the tornado activity, when you click on the link, it takes you directly to the phenomena that you could show the students before, well, after that advertisement commercial, before they get started on that HyperDoc. here you'll have the opportunity when you pull my resource, there's two more example HyperDocs that you can look at. One about simple machines and one about planet animal cells. So you see you have like a 5th grade sample that you can use, simple machines, I wanna say fourth maybe, or second with pushes and pulls. So you have another example here. I won't click on right now because of time, but you have these available to you. And then you have another sample link of a HyperDoc, and I like this one. I'll show you this one because this HyperDoc shows you how you can create one with the choice board, which I love. When students have choice, you know, they think they're running things like, oh, I can pick what I can do. You sure can. But many times we set our choice boards up so the students are still getting the learning that we want for them. So you'll notice with this choice board that the students have to complete the 4 corners first. So I put certain things in the 4 corners because I know I need them to do those things. Then you'll see the additional activities are kind of based off of student choice, writing a song or a poem or a rap. For our arts, for our learners, when we think about STEM and STEAM, our students that are interested in the arts. Then you'll see here a choice to use the engineering design model. So that choice, students who like to engineer, like to be more hands-on. So in this choice board, I made sure to have activities for different types of learners and for different interests. So I really like this one. Definitely check this one out when you have a chance to navigate through my resource. This one aligns with 3rd grade standards. It does. I actually have the standards down there when you scroll through it. P1 physical science, 3rd grade with heat. So that one is one that's ready to use. All you do is make you a copy and make sure the things that are in there, what you want to use with your students. So I wanted to make sure that you have this. When you think about HyperDocs, it can become a lot, but if you kind of break it apart and know the steps to having an effective HyperDoc, you end up with amazing results. If you're starting from scratch with your HyperDoc, the first thing you want to do is think about the objectives, the lesson and the learning objectives with the end in mind. What do you want students to learn or be able to do at the end of this HyperDoc learning cycle? Think about the learning cycle you want to use for your HyperDoc. Do you want them to go through the engineering design model? Do you want them to go through the 5 E's? Do you want it to be a choice board? Do you want them to do the explore, explain, apply? Do you want to set it up where they have a hook? Then you teach and learn. You stick in a video asynchronous of yourself teaching and then having them collaborate. After you determine that, the packaging, are you going to put it on a PowerPoint, a Google Doc? Are you going to put it in forms? Like, how are you going to package this HyperDoc for the learning cycle? And then the workflow, how are students going to be turning work into you? Through forms? Are they going to be emailing it to you, uploading it to Padlet? That will be the next thing you think about. And then finally, you want to make sure you think about the design. We want to remember that students, we have all different types of learners and they have different types of needs. So I provided the universal design of learning so you can look at different examples to make sure that you meet the need of all learners. The last link that I have here, I won't click on it, but this is a support document for building your HyperDocs. And I also give credit to another person that created this document, and then I made some adjustments that I felt necessary, but there's definitely credit in there for the lady that did an awesome job creating this support doc. And actually, that's the very end for you all to have this report doc. And I think I probably have about 1 minute. I'll look in the chat for any, yay, I have 2 minutes. For any questions, just remember you have this document, this PowerPoint with all the resources.
The one question that they had was, is this was in Google Forms, and I said it was in Google Suite.
The examples?
Yeah.
Okay, everything was made Well, the presentation is Google Slides. The samples are either Google Slides or Google Doc, and Google Forms. And if you click on anything and it's messing up for you, or for some odd reason you don't have access, please do not hesitate to send me an email, or just like any questions about particular documents within this presentation. Thank you, Jeremy, and everyone. Julia, I'm like scrolling back up. Andrea, Marley, thank you. Anybody can jump in, unmute your mic if you have any additional questions. Thank you all for the people who came in really, really early and I recapped.
Hey, I have a question.
Yes, Mr. David.
Could you move through the progression that you said? You said starting with the learning outcome and then going where as you create these documents?
So you start with your, on this slide, you start with your learning objectives.
All right, cool.
What exactly you're gonna teach. It really helps to create these HyperDocs. I'm guilty of going into creating HyperDocs, not really knowing what I want the students to do in the end. So thinking about that first before picking your videos and different things you want the students to engage in. And that's this slide that's available to you before the last slide.
Thank you. I let that pass me. I appreciate it. You did a wonderful job.
Thank you, and that's no problem. The session is recorded, so you will have the link and the ability to go back and watch it again. But I would definitely take advantage of the resource, because once you start clicking all those different links, it'll give you a lot of different examples of how you can set up your different HyperDocs.
One last question. Are we allowed to share these with our PLCs, or is that a no-go?
No, you can share them with your PLCs. The docs are open for you to copy it and create your own. You know, if you need to like take certain things off. The sample.
No, I could never do as well as you did. You did awesome.
Well, thank you. And any questions that may come up in your PLCs, or that you maybe I can help to answer, just feel free to reach out to me, email me, and just let me know.
Thank you, Natasha. We appreciate it. Sorry that I interrupted you after you got started about recording.
Oh, no.
Think about it.
No, and thank you, Ms. Greer. So I was able to press record. I'm going to actually stop it now.